Scandinavian homes have a quality the rest of the world quietly envies. They're clutter-free without looking cold, calm without looking empty, effortlessly tidy without anyone seeming to try very hard. And it isn't luck, and it isn't bigger houses. It's a set of quiet rules, principles so ingrained that Scandinavians follow them without thinking, that keep clutter from ever taking hold in the first place. These rules come straight out of Nordic values. Lagom, the sense that the right amount is just enough. A love of clean, functional design over excess. A deep instinct against waste, and a preference for a few quality things over many cheap ones. Put them together and you get homes that stay clear, calm, and genuinely restful. Not through constant heroic cleaning, but through a way of living that prevents clutter from forming at all. Today, I'm going to give you 20 of these rules, specific, practical, and every one of them usable in your own home tonight, no matter where you live or how much space you have. Some will be familiar. Several will be the small shifts that quietly change everything. And by the end, you'll understand the single principle underneath all 20, the one that turns a cluttered home into a calm one for good. Stay with me until Rule 14, because it's the one that stops clutter before it ever enters your home. And it's the most powerful rule on the entire list. One quick idea before the rules, because it makes every one of them land harder. Most people think clutter is a cleaning problem, that a cluttered home just needs more tidying, more storage, more organizing. It isn't, and that's why those things never fix it for long. Clutter is really two problems: owning more than your space can comfortably hold, and lacking systems that keep what you own in its place. Buy more storage without addressing those, and you've just created more places to accumulate more stuff. The clutter comes right back. The Scandinavian rules work because they attack the actual causes. Some of them reduce how much you own. Some give everything a place so nothing drifts. And the most powerful ones stop clutter from entering at all. That's the difference between fighting clutter forever and simply not having it. Keep that in mind as we go. You'll notice every rule is doing one of those three jobs. Let's begin. Rule 1. Keep only what you use or love, the foundation of everything. If something isn't genuinely useful or genuinely loved, it doesn't earn a place in your home. This single question, do I use this or love this, is the filter everything else flows from. And notice how demanding it actually is. Not, might I use this someday? Not, is this still good? Not, did it cost money? But, do I use it or love it now? Most clutter fails this test the instant you ask it honestly, which is exactly why most people avoid asking. The Scandinavian home is simply the result of asking it and acting on the answer. Rule 2. One in, one out. For every new thing that enters your home, one old thing leaves. This is the rule that stops accumulation in its tracks. Without it, a home only ever fills up. With it, the total stays stable, and you're forced to genuinely want something before you let it in. Rule 3. If you haven't used it in a year, let it go. The honest test. That thing you're keeping just in case, that you haven't touched in 12 months, is almost certainly something you never will. A year is long enough to prove you don't need it. Release it, and free the space it was quietly stealing. Rule 4. Own fewer, better things. Lagom and quality over quantity. One good knife instead of 5 mediocre ones. A few well-made clothes instead of a closet full of cheap ones. Fewer, better possessions mean less clutter, less to maintain, and more genuine satisfaction from what you own. Rule 5. Beware the just-in-case trap. Most clutter hides behind these 3 words. The duplicates, the spare parts, the things kept for a scenario that never arrives. Be ruthless here. Just in case is almost always just a reasonable-sounding excuse to keep clutter. If you can easily replace it, should you ever need it, let it go now. Rule 6. Give everything a designated home. Every single object needs one specific place where it belongs. This is what genuinely separates a tidy home from a chaotic one. And it's not how much you own, but whether everything has an address. Here's the mechanism. Clutter forms because putting something away requires a decision. Where does this go? And that split second of hesitation is enough to make you set it down for now, instead. Multiply that by every object, every day, and you have a cluttered home. But when everything already has a home, the decision vanishes, and putting away becomes automatic. Clutter is mostly just homeless objects, so give them all addresses, and most of it never forms. Rule 7. Put things back immediately. The moment you finish with something, it returns to its home. Not later, not for now, on the nearest surface. This sounds trivial and is anything but, because clutter is almost never a single event. It's 1,000 tiny deferrals. The cup set down, the jacket draped, the thing put here for now. Each one a small, I'll deal with it later. And later, all those deferrals arrive at once, as the overwhelming mess you blame yourself for. Closing the gap instantly, every time, is the entire difference between a home that stays clear and one that constantly slides into chaos. Rule 8, never leave a room empty-handed. If something in the room belongs elsewhere, take it with you as you go. This one habit quietly returns dozens of drifting objects to their homes every day, using trips you are already making. So clutter never gets the chance to accumulate. Rule 9, store things where you use them. Coffee things by the kettle, cleaning cloths by the sink. When an object lives where it's used, putting it away is effortless, and effortless is what makes a habit stick. Every step between a thing and its place is friction, and friction is what creates mess. Rule 10, contain like with like. Keep similar things together in defined spaces, so everything has a clear category and nothing drifts into random piles. When every type of thing has its zone, disorder has nowhere to form. Rule 11, keep flat surfaces clear. Counters, tables, shelves. The flat surfaces are where clutter loves to breed. Scandinavians keep them largely clear, treating open surface not as wasted space but as visual calm. A clear counter reads as serene. A covered one reads as chaos, even when everything on it is tidy. Rule 12, protect empty space. This is deeply Scandinavian, and it runs against a powerful instinct. Most of us see an empty corner, wall, or shelf as unfinished, something to fill. The Scandinavian view is the opposite. Empty space isn't a void waiting to be filled. It's a presence that makes a home feel calm and open. And there's a real reason it works. Every object in a room is something your brain quietly processes. So a room packed with things generates constant low-level visual noise you feel as tension. Empty space gives your eye, and your mind, somewhere to rest. So resist the urge to fill every corner. Protect the emptiness. It's doing more for your calm than anything you'd put there. Rule 13, clear the fridge door and the entryway. 2 clutter magnets almost everyone ignores. A fridge blanketed in magnets and paper, and an entryway piled with shoes and bags are the first things you see, and they set the tone for the whole home. Keep both clear, and the whole house feels more ordered instantly. The rule that changes everything. Rule 14, stop clutter at the front door. Here it is, the most powerful rule of all, because it prevents clutter instead of cleaning it up. Before anything enters your home, pause and ask, do I actually need this? Where will it live? The truth is that the easiest clutter to deal with is the clutter you never let in. Every impulse buy refused, every freebie declined, every maybe left in the store is clutter that never becomes your problem. Fighting clutter inside your home is endless work. Refusing it at the door ends the war before it starts. This single rule, practiced consistently, does more than all the decluttering in the world, because it stops the flow at the source. Rule 15, tidy a little every day. Small and constant beats big and occasional. Always. A few minutes of resetting each day keeps clutter from ever building to the point where it needs a dreaded weekend overhaul. This is the opposite of how most people operate, letting mess accumulate all week and then launching a big rescue mission. And it's far easier, because tiny daily maintenance never feels like a burden, while the weekend overhaul always does. The Scandinavian home stays clear not through heroic periodic effort, but through small, constant, almost invisible upkeep. The mess never wins because it's never allowed to build. Rule 16, do a nightly reset. Before bed, spend a few minutes returning the main living spaces to order. Cushions straight, surfaces cleared, things back in their homes. Here's why this small habit is so powerful. It means your home returns to zero every single night. So the gap between my home right now and my home clear is never allowed to grow larger than a single day. It can never drift into overwhelming territory, because you reset it before it can, and there's a gift in the morning too. You wake to calm and order instead of yesterday's mess, which quietly sets the tone for the entire day. 5 minutes at night buys a calm home around the clock. Rule 17, deal with paper immediately. Paper is one of the sneakiest sources of clutter. Mail, documents, receipts, endless paper piling up on surfaces. Handle it the moment it enters. Deal with it, file it, or bin it, but never let it start a pile. A paper pile, once begun, grows forever. Rule 18. Declutter by category, not by room. When you do clear out, gather all of one type of thing together, all your clothes, all your books, and decide as a category. It's far more effective than going room by room, because you see the true total of what you own, and duplicates and excess become obvious. Rule 19. Practice gentle, ongoing decluttering. There's a Scandinavian tradition, sometimes called dødsstedning, or death cleaning, though it's really about life, of periodically, calmly reviewing your belongings and releasing what no longer serves you, so things never accumulate into an overwhelming mass. Not a one-time purge, but an ongoing, gentle relationship with your possessions. Clutter-free is a practice, not a single event. Rule 20. Choose experiences over things. The deepest rule and the most preventive of all. Scandinavian culture leans toward valuing experiences, nature, and time with people over the accumulation of possessions. When your life is oriented toward doing and being rather than having, you simply acquire less stuff to begin with, and the clutter never forms, because you were never chasing things in the first place. A life rich in experiences tends to be a home light on clutter. So let's step back, because a single thread runs through every one of these rules. Owning less, giving everything a home, keeping surfaces clear, stopping clutter at the door, resetting daily, choosing experiences over things. Notice what connects them all. Not one is really about cleaning harder or organizing more cleverly. Every single one is about prevention and enough, keeping clutter from forming in the first place, and refusing to own more than your life actually needs. That's the principle. A clutter-free home isn't achieved by managing clutter. It's achieved by preventing it and by owning only enough. This is legum applied to your whole home. The West's approach to clutter is to fight it after it forms, to buy storage, to organize, to launch periodic heroic cleanouts. The Scandinavian approach is to stop it at the source. Own less, let everything have a place, refuse what doesn't belong at the door, and reset gently every day so nothing accumulates. One approach is an endless, exhausting battle. The other is a calm home that simply stays calm, because clutter was never allowed to take hold. And here's the genuinely useful part. You don't need all 20 tonight. Pick one, just one, that struck you most. Maybe it's stopping clutter at the front door. Maybe it's the nightly reset, or giving everything a home, or one in, one out. Start with that single rule, practice it until it's automatic, and then add another. Slowly, these rules weave themselves into how you live, until your home stays clutter-free on its own, the way a Scandinavian home does, without the constant battle you may have assumed was just part of life. Because a calm, clear, clutter-free home was never about cleaning more. It was about owning enough, preventing the pile-up, and letting your home, and your mind, finally have room to breathe. Now I want to hear from you. Of these 20 rules, which one are you going to start with tonight? Tell me the number in the comments and be honest about where your clutter comes from. And if this gave you a calmer, more hopeful way to think about your home, share it with one person whose space and mind could use a little more room to breathe. I'll see you in the next one.